lied to you. I left SBB. I disappointed my parents. Scratch that off the list. It doesn't bother me. Do you even hear yourself? Those are all the same problem. You're a user. I am not a user. You use the SBB and Dipbrow to get into Harvard. And to be honest, Jamila, I always thought you've been using the thetas just to prove how black you are. Okay. Yeah, I did. I joined a black sorority because I wanted people to stop calling me white girl or Oreo. And I can admit it was for the wrong reasons, but I love thetas and I love my sorors. You let them take stepping from us. Aisha, white people said the same thing about Tiger Woods and the Williams sisters. And we said the same thing about Eminem. Racists can't own things. You know what? I give up. I give up. Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to today's Days Review. For those who are new to my channel, my name is Tia Joy. Welcome. And to all of my fam, what's up y'all? I am so glad you are here. We are ending this week with another Step female movie, and that is Step Sisters. Now before I get into this dance review, for all those who are new and want to be part of the fam and join us, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and plus hit that bell so you can be in the know when I upload a new video. Step Sisters came out in 2018 on Netflix, so if you haven't seen the movie, go ahead to your Netflix and go and watch it. And it is directed by Charles Stone III. So this movie is about a girl named Jamila, who is played by Megalyn Etchy. That's what I'm just gonna say. Megalyn Etchy. And she wants to go to Harvard, but she needs some letter recommendation. So she turns to her parents, but her parents won't give it to her because they're also eliminated for Harvard, but they don't think, oh, you didn't get a 4.0 GPA, so we cannot give you one. So she turns to her boss, who she works for at the Student Affairs Center, Dean Burton, who is played by Robert Curtis Brown. And he said in order to give her one, she has to help out a sorority because they got in trouble, called the SBBs, and he's thinking about closing their chapter. So if she works with them and get them ready for the step competition and they win, then he will give her a letter. So she has a boyfriend named Dane, who is played by Matt McGorry, and he is like the guy who studies African American studies, so he almost like try to educate Jamila how to be black. And it's very interesting of how his character is, because I could tell he's really into the African American culture, but he must be a little bit too much into it. But at the same time, he's very interesting. Beth, who is Jamila's friend, who's played by Eden Sher, she is part of the SBBs, and so she pretty much introduced her to all of the girls, such as Libby, who is pretty much the Southern Belle, and she is played by Gage Galite. And we have Amber, who is pretty much the girl who just don't play no games. She will give it to you raw and cut your throat and then give you a hug at the end of the day. And she is played by Alexandra Torresani. We have Danielle. She is the president of SBB, and she's played by London Smith. She's the one that's like the boss chick, don't care, everything's gonna go my way, and if you don't like it, then too bad, I'm not changing for anything. And then we have Sandra, who is pretty much the Black Barbie. She is very like, she's really super preppy, super like, she's very confident in herself, most definitely. She ain't gonna take any bull from nobody. That's one thing I can definitely say. But she's like a black girl, but she is very proper. And there's nothing wrong about being proper, so I'm not gonna excuse that. She's just very she's very proper, and you could tell she was very trained well, and she ain't all bougie at all. She's just straight up, nah, like, I ain't about that. And she is played by Nia Javier. We also have Kevin, and he is Danielle's brother. He was played by Mark Richardson. We also have her mom, who is Miss Yvonne, which is funny because that's my mom's name. That's kind of weird saying. And she is played by Cheryl Lee Ralph, and Langston, who is her dad, played by L. Warren Young. And her mom is funny. She's strict and kind of bitter a little bit, because she keeps going to the story about Michelle Obama and how she stole her intern. So she's just kind of funny when she's really hating on the president's wife. And her dad is like, just let it go. It was like, you didn't get the interns. It's okay. Life moves on. And lastly, we have Aisha, who's played by Notori Nodin, and she is Jamila's stepsister, and she's the one that keeps her in check. But then again, she's that good friend to her that be up and honest with her, because she wants nothing but the best. But she also has her moments where she is a little racist, but she's still loving, and she just needs to have an understanding between whites and black. And I will get more into that a little bit later. And we have a special appearance by Emmanuel Hudson, who is the host at the Steptacular competition. Now I'm going to get into some of my favorite scenes, so here we go. So my first favorite scene that I like is when the SBBs and they go out for the first time in the step competition, and this is to raise money for cancer. And they went through all the practices and they're about to perform. They're the only white sorority who is actually competing in this competition. So they're really nervous, because they know that when it comes to stepping, it's more of an African American type culture thing. So by them going on stage, they tried, you know what I mean? It's not like they did a horrible job. In the beginning, when they came out, they were together. They weren't really aggressive. They weren't really strong in their movements, but you could tell that they were trying to do the routine just so they could say, yay, we did the routine. So they weren't really 100% together. Everything was like very on a medium scale. It wasn't really exciting or entertaining. And on top of that, the audience that they were in front of was African American culture, black people. So they felt a little out of place, and you can really tell in their performance that they were really trying to impress, but then again, they were very nervous. But I didn't think they didn't do too bad. But then when Amber, who came late, it's like, girl, that was pretty much a little bit embarrassing. So that was kind of funny in the audience. They were like, that girl late, she came in late. They're like, what is going on? And so after that, they pretty much fell downhill, and Danielle was very embarrassed, because it's like, okay, this is our first time, we're trying to make a great impression, and so far we're not doing as well. And on top of that, we're not all together. Amber came in late, the girls are falling. Then Danielle herself, she ends up missing the flip that she's supposed to do over Sandra's back. So it's like it just went a little bit downhill. But they really tried. So you have to give them some props for at least having the boldness to go out on stage and try. And they did they did what they could. And it's always the first jitters. Just got to get it out of the way. Not so that they want to be remembered by, but they end up being remembered by, and not just only that, but the reputation of their sorority. So they had a lot to prove. And just this one, I just liked it because they tried, you know what I mean? It's not like they did a horrible job. They tried. My second favorite scene that I liked in this movie was the Thetas. I liked their theme. They were the flight attendants, and so they had the little light directing lights that they have in their hands, kind of like when you go to an airport and you see the guys outside and they're using the lights to direct the plane to help show them where they need to go. I like how they use that in their routine. So the first part is when they had their shape that they made as one. I just love the Thetas. They're so aggressive. You could tell they're really confident in who they are, and not in who they are, but who they are with each other. They are really like, girl, I got you. Girl, I got you. Like, if you mess with my sister, you will die. Point blank, period. Like, you could tell they got each other's back, and you could tell that they love their sorority and they love each other as a sisterhood. The sisterhood is really there. I like how when they used the lights, they used it not as a prop, but they use it as part of who they are. They didn't just say, oh, this is a light and this is, and they use specific, oh, this is what it's for, just to direct airplanes. No, they use it as who they are. So I really like that. I like the stomp at the routine that they did, and plus the lean back and they come back up. These girls are just fierce. They're fire. They are just, man, like, they stump hard. Like, if the whole room could shake by them stumping, it probably would have been an earthquake, because these girls were not playing any game. And I love how Naturi, because in real life she's an amazing singer, so the fact that she was able to sing of how much she loved the Thetas, and then they just branched off of that and start stumping and doing some more things together. I just love how she was able to use her voice. I really like the lean that they did together, how they huddled up into one line and then they leaned back and then they did that look all together, like, let's go. And the girl, I love how when she came out, she did her little movement. It did a jump over the girl and then straight to a split and split right forward. It's like, woo, let's go. And then after that, they just took off and just started just, man, I just love them. They're so entertaining. I love the fact that they were trying to mimic the SBBs, trying to be all preppy and girl and like, oh my gosh, like, so, like, aha, like, type thing. And they just started making fun of them just a little bit. That's why it's my second favorite scene. My third favorite scene is the SBBs, they come back. Yo, I like this last one so much because you could see the progression from the first time they stepped to where they are now in this competition. They really proved themselves, I believe. And on top of that, I really liked how Jamila, after that first one, she had to sit them down and be like, yo, y'all are not even together. You don't barely know each other. Like, what is going on? You're supposed to be a sisterhood. So I like how Jamila had to get them to understand that don't be here just to, you know, be here and be around a bunch of, you know, girls. Like, why are you here? So I like how she always focused on the leader. She didn't always focus on the girls too much. She always went straight to the leader. Like, this is your sisterhood. You are the president. Why did you choose these girls? So when they finally got to an understanding, especially Danielle, of why she did what she did, they end up being bonded. They end up bonding again. They end up coming together and working as a team. And in this routine, you definitely see that. So they came back aggressive. They were so together. Their facials, like when they stumped, they had a purpose of why they're stumping this time. It wasn't just stumping because, oh, this is what we do. Like, they understood. And I like how the guys, the frats, they worked with them too. Like, you guys need to be more hardcore now. You need to be more like in the face now. Like, no more of this cute, oh, I'm just okay, don't want to break my nails. Nah, like, I broke my nail and my back and I stumped the mess out of my foot, and I don't care, because all I know is if you try to come for me, it's a wrap. So I like how she put that fierceness in them, and they show that definitely in this routine. I really like how the clap hand that they did into the cannon, their banner dropped. When that happened, I was like, yo, these girls ain't coming to play. And even the crowd felt it. They like, okay, hold on. I see y'all. Wait a minute. All right, like, okay, they serious now. The center, they came to the center, they did their arms going up in like different diagonals in different ways, and then they leaned back and then like cut it. I was like, oh snap, okay. And then after that they did the look, cut it. I was like, oh snap. I was like, okay, SVP, yes, koalas, let's go. It's like, koalas are soft and sweet, but when they get to a point of being aggressive, you better watch out. And these koalas, they did they dang thing. Okay. And so I like how a little bit later, Amber, she gets on the board and then they raise her up and then she just starts stepping on there. Like, these girls used everything they could. They was like, we gonna set this place on fire. We gonna do it the right way. This is the impression of who we are. Everything that you said about us, we gonna throw that away. This is who we really are now that we found purpose. Now we found who we are. I wish now y'all can talk about us and say we just some preppy white girls. Heck no. Like, we may be cute, may get our nails done and may go to the spa, but there's a fire inside of us, and Jamila was able to be there and pull that out of them. And now it's like, they ain't no white girls, they are some hardcore steppers just like everybody else. It just takes one person to bring all of that out of them, and they sure did that in this routine. And I just love how they even got on, was it Danielle and Beth got on the girl's shoulder, and they still clapping and they still doing their moves together. They killed this routine, man. And then they fell on the floor, and then they started doing their stepping on the floor. They came up, split the legs, and head like, what? I'm like, okay, yo, y'all tell me how y'all thought about how the difference between the first time they did and the last one. Tell me how y'all feel. Put that in the comments below, because yo, man, they killed it. So that is my last favorite scene that I love about this movie, is SBB combat. I would just have to say the lesson that I learned in this movie is just to be who you are and don't be ashamed of it. I know Jamila, she was really struggling with growing up because her parents were more wealthy, and she didn't really live in certain neighborhoods where she has to be reminded that she is black. But she know that education was very, very important, and she struggled with being called a white girl because she wasn't acting black. She wasn't acting what her skin color was. And I know that, as you saw in the beginning of my scene I did with Aisha and Jamila, and how Aisha was like, you just joined a black sorority just to prove that just so you could prove that I am black. And Jamila was like, well, that's because people keep calling me an Oreo. People keep calling me a white girl. And it's like, I'm sick and tired of that. Like, she just wanted to be herself. She just wanted to be accepted. She wanted to feel accepted. She didn't want to feel like she wasn't good enough. And it just put her in a position of categories of black should do this and white should do this in separation. And Jamila was trying to get her Aisha to understand that race can't own things. They can't be only pertain to specific people. It should be available for everyone. So she was trying to explain what stepping is like. Stepping is not just African American. And then Aisha was like, but it's our black culture. And she was like, Jamila was like, well, the Greek letters are not even black. That's Greek. So we can't get to a place of, when it comes to our skin color, that we have to own specific areas where it's just only for black people. I just agree with Jamila that black and whites, they can't own everything. It should be a bit available for everyone. I like how Jamila had to break it down, like Tiger Woods, he's black, but he plays golf. The Williams sisters, they play tennis. It shouldn't be specific for a specific race. Yes, there's always going to be a backstory of where things come from or started, but it should be available for everyone. It shouldn't be a position of only the black culture should own this and the other cultures should not be able to experience or to have it. And I like how Jamila pointed out, like, stepping is not just a black thing. It should be available for everyone. Anyone should be able to do it. And once Aisha saw how hard SBB worked and how great they are and the progression that they made just by doing it, she even got to a place of realizing, let me give props to where it's due. You guys did a great job. And everyone has their own way of taking in a concept, and we have to be respectful and give credit due for how somebody interprets that concept. And there is no right or wrong. Only us decide ourselves, individual, our values, our goals of what is right and what is wrong. But just because for us it's wrong doesn't mean for the other person it may be wrong. And we just have to get to understanding of being unified and not try to separate. And I also like how Jamila was like, and people said the same thing about Eminem. Eminem was a white rapper and people hated him, like, why are you rapping? But the dude got flow, and on top of that, his vocabulary is out of this world. They say he uses the most vocabulary in a dictionary because this dude studied the dictionary. So when he raps, you can tell he's well educated and he's well knowledgeable about the words that he used when it comes to his lyrics. But I mean, and he has wrote a lot of hits. The man is successful. And so what if he's white? If you got a reasoning, purpose, and if you love what you do, and you got something to say, I mean, go for it. He ain't playing no games. So that's definitely a lesson that I learned, is race cannot own things. It should be available for everyone. So that's the lesson that I learned in this movie. So that's all that I have for this dance movie review. If you like the movie, go ahead and hit that like button and also that subscribe, so that way you can be a part of the fam, and hit that bell so that way instantly you'll be notified when I upload a new dance movie review, which is every Tuesday and every Thursday. Now, amazing job to all of the steppers who are a part of this movie. You all did an amazing job. Awesome job to the choreographer AJ Jones, who choreographed this movie, and we have the assistant choreographer who helped him, who is Kendra Banky Rive. So thank you both so much. You did such an amazing job. I add all of you guys in my Dancers Hall of Fame. So if you see a name that you recognize, go ahead and tag them, hit them up saying, yo, guess what? You did an amazing job in this dance movie. And I just want to show my gratitude and say thank you so much for sharing your gift for all of us to see. So go ahead and do that. I know my subscribers do that, so join the fam and do that with me, just to share some positive love, and on top of that, to show honor and gratitude for those who make it to a big screen, bigger than ours, because sometimes, you know, that's amazing for the fact that somebody get into a movie and they can go back and say, hey, I did that. Like, that's amazing. So let's celebrate with them, because I'm pretty sure when they got that phone call they were a part of this. I'm pretty sure it was very, very exciting. If you haven't seen the movie, go ahead and see it on Netflix, because it is still there, so go watch it. Thank you all so much for watching, and don't forget to make good choices. Bye.